It took me forever to learn how to make viral content and even longer to learn how to do it repeatedly. But if I had to go back and start from square one tomorrow, I would only need to know 5 of the things I learned throughout that whole process in order to start making viral videos on day one. So in this video, I'll be explaining to you those 5 things so that you can start producing your own viral content easily and for free right away. How's it going? I'm Vic. I'm the content media manager here at 1-800-T-Shirts, and I've been behind numerous of our viral videos that we've had for our businesses, social medias, and some of those viral videos even landed us on the Today Show, but we're not going to get too deep into that. My point is I may look young, but what I lack in age, I make up for in a concerning amount of screen time every day. Anyway, it took me a very long time to learn what it takes to make a viral video and how to do it repeatedly for our business. And looking back, I'd tell people after everything I learned, I only needed about 5 of those pieces of advice in order to really understand what makes a good video and what makes a video viral. The problem is it seems so obvious to me now, but it doesn't seem like people are discussing the biggest foundations of creating viral content. So that's why I decided to make this video, to teach you these important lessons I had to learn so that you can get started producing viral content for yourself or for your business right away, not fall into the same pitfalls that I did. And hopefully by the time you're at my point, you'll be leaps and bounds ahead of me and better than me, and maybe I shouldn't be telling you this. Anyway, it's important you stick around for tip number 5 because that's going to take everything that I tell you about and put it into a blueprint that you can use to produce countless viral videos for yourself that hit almost every time. If that sounds good to you, I'm going to get into it. Starting off, you have to master the hook. This is content creation 101. You gotta have your hook down. The hook is the first 3 to 6 seconds of any video, and a hook can make or break that video, regardless of whatever the rest of the video is. Because 3 to 6 seconds is about how long it takes the average viewer to decide whether they're gonna watch your video or not. The reason the hook is so important is because of this, the scroll. Users on these social media platforms have so much information and entertainment available to them at all times that if they don't favor your video and the time it takes for a gut reaction, they'll literally catapult you out of the top of their phone. Get out of here, you're boring. A better name for a hook is a scroll stopper, because you're trying to stop that trigger finger that would make John Wayne shake in his boots if he had to duel at noon with whatever. Make that carousel stop, make them decide to watch your video, and 90% of your job is already done. The hook is comprised of 3 main things: what the viewer sees, hears, and feels in the first moments of your video. In other words, make those moments attention catching and scene setting. The scene setting is something I had to learn the hard way. See, I was dead set on the buzzwords. I would say, this is the craziest, most insane, wild, one of the coolest, stuff like that. That's great. It's good to have that, but I wasn't paying enough respect to the crucial scene setting aspect of the hook. Let me lay it out for you. Set the scene, if you will. As I mentioned, viewers make their decisions on whether they're going to watch your video based off gut reactions. And if you do not tell them exactly what to expect, if they don't know what's going on in the first moments of your video, they're going to be confused. And people do not like to be confused. They'll scroll away. You're so busy saying things like crazy, awesome, earth-shattering. Meanwhile, there's 7 videos away watching a dog do a kickflip off a skateboard, because that's pretty straightforward and it's awesome. What I'm getting at is buzzwords are great. They should just come second to setting the scene and being clear. Finally, I'll touch on another tactic for hooks that I don't really see talked about that often, but I've found to be super beneficial, and that's giving a little focus to what the viewer's feeling in those first 3 to 6 seconds. Emotions are very quick and powerful, which is why they factor in a lot in that gut reaction of whether the viewer's gonna watch your video. If you can make the viewer feel a certain way, like they're missing out on some important information or they need some crucial information because some danger might come their way if they don't know it, that's gonna prove extremely beneficial to your content and its performance. Let's say you're advertising or making a video about a pink scarf. In one instance, you could say, this is the craziest, most mind-blowing, awesome, pinkest scarf on the planet. Here's 5 reasons why. That's great. It's a little too many words, but a better one might be, what's the deal with that pink scarf everybody's been talking about recently? Here's everything you need to know. That second one makes the viewer feel as though they're missing out on something everybody's talking about, but before they can even think, the narrator calms their mind by saying, here's everything you need to know. Try to see where you can apply this in your hooks and you'll start to see some results. Number 2, understanding your audience. At the end of the day, knowing your audience helps you make strategic video topic choice, the way you film the videos, how you're talking, how you're presenting yourself, everything. Understanding your viewership is going to do a lot to help you with the algorithm. More on that later. First of all, you got to know your viewer and you got to know who you're making your videos for. People like to feel heard and they like to feel noticed. For example, I'm making this video with a specific viewer in mind, a viewer with your problems who likes to learn information the way you do and might feel certain ways about how other people are delivering this information. I'm aware of that and I can be confident and I can make strategic choices in how I make this video versus if I was just making this for anybody who's going to see it. Not to worry, understanding this is as simple as going on social media, doing a little recon, seeing what people who kind of resemble your channel and talk about things that you want to talk about, seeing what they're doing, seeing how the people that you want to make videos for are responding. What do they like to see? You'll start to get a feel. I kind of understood that out the gate, but what I didn't understand, you got to know who you're talking to and when you're talking to them. Enter niche, audience, pop culture. Fun fact, this Venn diagram was directly to blame for our first super successful TikTok video, but I digress. Let me break it down for you. Look at social media platforms like TikTok, Reels, Shorts. They have billions of users on those apps every single day. They're not showing every video to everybody. Instead, they're showing viewers videos that relate to them, their interests, their place in life, what they like to see, what they might have been looking up, stuff that's relevant to them. That's why on TikTok, it's called a For You page. When people discuss the algorithm or this mysterious black magic equation that picks and chooses videos based off of nothing but numbers, what they're really just talking about is the system that figures out what viewers like to see and how they like to see it. So if you figure out how to play that system, you just broke the code. The way the algorithm works, it takes its whole user base and then cuts it into segments. The simplest way to put this is any one user can be described by the algorithm, just like you can be described by your address, your house number, or the street you live on, or the town you live in, or the county, state, the country, or the planet. So niche, audience, pop culture, this Venn diagram, who said you didn't learn anything useful in third grade math, plays directly to this system. The three components are: 1, niche. The niche is just a specific group of people. So for this example, we'll do architects. That's a niche. Architects need building advice. Your audience is people who are interested in a topic. So in the architecture example, it'd be people interested in architecture. I can be not an architect, but I can know a little bit more than the average person. I think architectural facts are cool. That puts me in the audience. Finally, pop culture is something everybody knows. So for architects, it might be the Baltimore Bridge disaster, ways that the Golden Gate Bridge differs from any other structure. Everyone knows what the Golden Gate Bridge is. These are different types and sizes of audience that you can try and reach at any given point. The larger the group, the higher the risk that your video won't really be relevant to anyone and you'll fade away, but the higher the reward, the more people can see it. The smaller the group, the higher potential your video has of being relevant to them and doing numbers within that community, but the higher the probability is that it just won't go beyond that community. For the architects, if you're making a video about which nut and bolt works best on load-bearing beams, that's only going to do as good with a certain amount of people, despite if it's the best nut and bolt load-bearing beam video that's ever been made. However, there's a magical thing in the middle of all of this, and that's a video that appeals to your niche, your audience, and pop culture, all equally. These videos are almost guaranteed to go viral. First video of ours that I really use this method on, video about Pepsi's weird rebranding logo design thing. Something they did in like 2009, it was this whole thing, and they had a weird design document. It appealed to pop culture. Everybody knows what Pepsi is. It appealed to people interested in branding and design. It also appealed to our niche, people who need custom apparel. There's a story about a failed rebranding. It was funny and everybody knows the company. That's just an example of a success we had to give you an idea of how this framework plays out. Next up, I'm going to tell you about video buckets and video topics. This is something I wish I would have done a lot better, a lot sooner, because it turned out to be the best thing I did. A content bucket, simply put, is just a group of similar video subjects, topics, formats, audiences. Think of it like a series. If your business was Comedy Central, one of their popular shows like South Park might be a bucket. It's South Park every time, but that doesn't mean the network is South Park. It's such an effective system because it's a way of organizing your content, not just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. The first time that I actually utilized a bucket system for our content strategy was my creative advertising series, which turned out to be the most successful thing I've ever done during my time on this planet. I would just show a collection of my favorite creative ads, talk about why I like them and why they are good advertising, and these videos were huge. But the thing is, they weren't huge right away. In fact, I had to fail multiple times before our first big hit, but after that big hit, everyone after was a huge success. The reason buckets help so much with this is I had a video topic, I had an approach, tried it, and tried it again, getting better the entire time until one of them hit. I was able to pursue a topic that I loved. I think creative ads are cool. It would be almost an instant hit every time I made the video. Buckets in and of themselves aren't a way of finding what works or just like producing a perfect video topic. It's a way of trying to get better at one specific thing at a time. Plus, it gives you relevant data, things to compare against each other, and you're not just floating around hoping for something to hit. You might find this a little useful. The way I found the topic for creative advertising was I was just going around TikTok looking up advertising, and then in the suggested search results, creative advertising came up. It's because people who look up advertising were also looking that up, which is telling me that those people wanted to see videos about creative advertising, and if I did it right, I'd hit it. But I digress. Retention. On these social media platforms, retention is the currency. More retention, or people's eyes and ears, people's focus on your stuff, will directly result in more views, followers, more engagement, sales, more everything. Retention is the base unit of success in content marketing. It is not something to be taken lightly. I was only able to figure out how to do retention correctly when I focused on the video as a whole the entire way, making sure every video had direction, purpose, and was entertaining at every stop. Because don't forget, people are only one quick swipe away from seeing someone they think is better or cooler than you. Don't discredit that. All you gotta do is ask yourself basic questions during the process. What am I saying? Why am I saying it? Am I being boring? Would I want to watch this video if I didn't make it and somebody else produced it and I saw it on the TV or the phone? The nice thing is, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you're a human being, and so are your viewers, unless you got some crazy setup going on. But for argument's sake, if you like it, and you're a human, other humans are likely to like it. I think this makes sense. Plus, these social media platforms offer loads of data that actually answer this very specifically. With this data, you can see at exactly what point of the video people swiped off of it, when they decided that you were too boring to stay watching. If you see a big drop off when you start talking about your trip to Cancun, maybe drop the subject or touch on it lightly if the trip means that much to you. What I'm getting at is if the audience tells you they don't want to see something, listen to them. They're the ones who are watching your videos or choosing to not. Finally, the tip I promised in the beginning of this video that would tie all of this together and provide you with a free blueprint that you can make viral content about anything at any time and repeat it as many times as you want. I hope you're sitting for this. And if you're already sitting, I hope you're laying down. This is some heavy stuff. The video arc. Nail this and you'll go viral. And I've been doing it this entire time. First things first, how have I been doing this the entire time? Let's review and I'll show you exactly how this story arc plays out throughout a video. I told you in the beginning it took me a very long time to learn to make viral content. You probably found that pretty relatable to what you're going through right now. That's why you chose to watch this video. Think of me as the guy who meets the hero, you, on their journey. I'm like Gandalf. I'm like Obi-Wan Kenobi. If I had a nickel for every time somebody called me Gandalf. Look at that. Once today already. Bet you think I'm a wizard. I then introduce you to the 5 simple and clear steps in order to take you from where you are now to where you want to go. And then I introduce the idea that there's a present you stick around you at the end of the video. Watch and you shall receive. And then every tip I gave related to this overall narrative of things I had to learn throughout my journey with specific examples, what I was doing wrong, and what I came to find out. Finally ending with tip number 5, where I just seem like a criminal genius. This is the story arc. It's been perfected for generations by mankind's greatest storytellers of all time. It's also your blueprint for successful viral content. But there's not really much I can tell you about the story arc that hasn't been said better than me by somebody else, other than I live and die by it if I want a video to do well. So I won't waste any of your time. I'll leave some links in the description to find out good resources on the story arc and how you can use it in your own viral content, and you can become a Jedi Master as well. Remember, I'm Obi-Wan. I'm also Gandalf. I'm both. My story arc, however, for this video, it's come to an end. By the way, here's a picture of the one I drew for this video. I'm about it. Now I'll do what they do after the falling action. I'll roll credits and live happily ever after. I hope you found this video useful. I hope there was some good information in here that you can carry over into your own content creation and start making some successful videos that make you either famous or rich or both. That's all you really need. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments. I'm liable to answer right away. This is my job. And try to figure this out for yourself. Was this video for our niche, our audience, for the pop culture? Here's your hint. It was for you.